All right, so I have some issues here. I'm back on the Demon Machine build with the full passive magic skillers and took all the damage charms off and everything else. The main complaint I get when people ask me what is wrong with Summonzon, they say that the clear speed isn't good. And that is confusing to me because we timed our maps last season with May Swan's map timer. I know everyone wasn't on that, but I got to compare this to a couple of very good players, and there was two people running decked multi-shot zones. I mean decked. I believe they were actually both switched to Bariza Zons, which lets me know that yes, crossbows are awesome. But I was only about 20% behind them when I was running the Demon Machine build, and I was only about 10% behind them when I switched to the Everything Zon build, which it should be because I'm using decoys. So I had three people who told me, hey, the Summonzon's kind of slow, what am I doing wrong? And they sent me some videos to look at, and I found that the same exact 4 or 5 problems are occurring with each person. So I assume they're occurring with everyone who thinks that this class is slow. Number one, your Deadly Strike is not where it should be. I know you get Critical Strike, but having... look, I think that 67 is wrong. My testing says that number is right. So your passive skills, since I know they don't work for the faster run walk on evade, I bet you they don't work on the critical strike. So you need to get Deadly Strike on this, because if you're running the Demon Machine, the multi-shot does your AoE, but that really only takes out small, weak enemies. The bigger enemies get taken out by your strafe, and the Deadly Strike, I'm pretty sure, doesn't apply to the multi-shot. So even if it did, the Deadly Strike on the strafe is what really gets the clear speed. You're getting the spread on the small guys with the multi-shot. You're getting the strafe damage on the big enemies, and that's how you get your clear speed up. So don't forget your Deadly Strike. It's very important. Second, this is still an Amazon. And multi-shot Zon, the reason it's so good is because people can dump 50, 60, 70 high runes into it. And yeah, it's going to clear quickly because of that. You still have to gear this out and deck it out, guys. You got to get a 3-socket helm. You got to get an Atmos for a source of amp. You need sick bolts. You need gores. You got to get the gear to make this work. It's better as an intro cost class, certainly. It was certainly better when no one was playing it. I know it's gotten popular and now the passive and magics are online with everyone else. But the whole point of this was it was a cheap, effective way to get into Amazon to do what you wanted to. And if you wanted to stay on it like I do, it's the perfect Uber tank. I mean, it is. I can do Ubers, and if I do it right, I'm not taking a single point of damage during Ubers. So that's the second thing. Make sure your gear is up. Third, playstyle issues. This is going to be a little weird because it's a not a dense map. But here's what I'm seeing people do. They would do this. Cast, go to max distance and spray like this at the packs. And try to stay as far away as humanly possible like they're playing multi-shot. That's not what we want to do. The whole point of this is we have some decoys. You pop a decoy, walk right up on the decoy, and get up on the enemies in their face. It's not a class that shotguns, but you treat this as if you're wielding a shotgun in an FPS. You want to be right up on the enemies so that when your strafe goes through, that multi-shot is taking out the entire pack from here to there. Otherwise, you're just not maximizing the strength of the class, which is that multi-shot proc. So the whole point of this, again, and drop a decoy, walk right up on... I'm going to finish this map now because it's a key map. Are you serious? And play the class like that. Lastly, the cast rate. Look, I know I don't have a lot of cast rate on this, and I don't have the right gear because I switched to the Necro and started spending money on that. But I need to get cast rate on my belt and a better ring. This is a sick ring, but it needs cast rate. You want 48. Otherwise, using the decoys is actually probably slowing you down. The 68 is great. The 99 is way too much, even though I did run that one season. But I'm seeing 2 of the 3 people who sent me their videos were running the 14% cast rate. That's not good enough. Otherwise, you're casting so slow at that point, you might as well not be casting them. I mean, that's just... Here, can I even get to... I mean, that's just slow. Thanks, Wapinator. Thanks, man. Thanks, Wapinator. But yeah, the cast rate just isn't there, and that's kind of the issue. So if you're going to play it right. You got to deck it out. You have to get, you got to sink some runes into this. You got to get right up on the enemies. You need your Deadly Strike. You need your cast rate. If you're doing those things, you should only be 10, 20% behind a decked out multi-shot Zon, and you've done it for about half the cost. That's the strength of this class. It is cheaper, was at least, cheaper than the others, and it is an uber monster. It is a tank class, essentially. So I hope that's helpful to I know that wasn't like a great video, but I had people ask me and say that it was slow, and I was like, what is going on? That is not what the objective numbers say on this class. So I'll, when Macewan gets the map timers back up, whenever he gets around to that, I will be timing this as an everything's on. I will be timing it as the regular Strafezon like this, or the Summonzon, whatever you want to call it. And I'll post it and show you guys. It is not slower than anything else. And moreover, that's the last thing. Sorry, I should mention this. When people are timing their maps, they're not looting, guys. So the benefit of Summonzon is, when there's a huge room full of stuff, instead of having to stop, I have the decoys out, you're spraying, and you go, oh, I want that. I can pick that up and check it out. I can sit here and ID it, take my time, and keep going because my minions are taking care of everything. It's a summon build, right? Well, when people are playing multi-shot and they're just running around skipping over everything, yes, they're going to clear things faster. And I'm not blaming their class. Like, one of the strengths of this is you can loot kind of at will, right? That's a good thing. But in terms of, objective clear speed, we have to have some sort of standard, and your loot drops are going to be different per game. I mean, you could ruin a time if you fill up your inventory, then what do? You got to sit there and go in town and ID and pause it, and then we got to add up time. It's just easier to say, okay, what's the objectively fast time for the class? It's to run the map without looting, go back and find the loot later. That's just the easiest thing to do. So when one of the strengths of this class is its ability to kind of loot at will, well, then you're going to have a little bit slower of a time. But I'm telling you, if you deck this out like I have, get a good Demon Machine, get a good Fort, get a good Helm, get your good Atmas with CBF, deck out the rest of it, you should only be 10 to 20% slower than these crazy Boazons, and, I mean, that's the end-all be-all of it. So I hope that was helpful to the three of you who asked, and for everyone else who had to watch this crappy video. Sorry, Poison Strike Necro Episode 2 is done, and that'll be out and there to entertain you guys in a few days. See you later.